The EU is proposing new sanctions against Moscow. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Russian atrocities in Ukraine cannot go unpunished.
A cruel and ruthless war, not only against Ukraine's brave troops, but also against its civilian population. It is important to sustain utmost pressure on Putin and the Russian government at this crucial point. The 4 packages of sanctions have hit hard and limited the Kremlin's political and economic options. We're seeing tangible results, but clearly, in view of events, we need to increase our pressure further. So today we are proposing to take our sanctions a step further. We will make them broader and sharper so that they cut even deeper into the Russian economy.
Ursula von der Leyen. Now, for analysis on these latest developments, let's join our US correspondent, Eric Ham, who's in Washington, D.C. Good to talk with you, Eric. And of course, New York, where the UN Security Council is meeting, is not too far from where you are. You've been keeping across that. And Ukrainian President Zelensky has been addressing the UN Security Council, giving some rather graphic accounts, hasn't he? What do you make of his absolutely searing indictment of what he called Russian war crimes?
I think what we're seeing, not only from President Zelensky, but also from the international community, there's now calling for war crimes. In fact, we heard from the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, who also made clear that she agreed with everything that was said by President Zelensky. And this is one of the reasons why we see the United States expediting more military aid to Ukraine. In fact, just in the last few days, the United States has provided an additional $300 million in military aid to Ukraine. In addition to that, we know that at some point this week, President Biden is going to announce new sanctions on Russia as a result of these atrocities that the world is now seeing.
And Eric, the Russian representative to the UN Security Council rejecting accusations of war crimes by Russian forces in Bucha. He said they are flagrant inconsistencies in events shown by Ukrainians and Western media. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's something that, again, this is part of the propaganda war that we know is playing out. And it's actually playing out on both sides. But make no mistake about it, the United States is very clear that the images that we are seeing are real. And it's one of the reasons why the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, has condemned the actions of Russia, and why we are hearing from the United States that they will actually cooperate and be part of the investigation by the International Criminal Court.
And a lot of that cooperation is based on images from Bucha and also those satellite images released by the US space technology company Maxar, which appear to contradict Moscow's claim that the killing of civilians in the Ukrainian town of Bucha happened after its soldiers had left. Just tell us more about that.
Yeah, that's right. And quite frankly, President Biden yesterday, he took no delight in this, but, he was saying that, he had been calling Vladimir Putin a thug and a war criminal, prior to these images coming out. And now what we're seeing is the president believes that, these crimes, these images validate, what he has been saying, what he has been thinking. It's another reason why we're seeing the United States continuing to be more aggressive and doubling down on its military aid. And it's why President Biden has said that that the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said that we will ensure that we will provide, all of the military equipment necessary to help Ukraine win. Yesterday, during the briefing at the Pentagon, we heard from Admiral Kirby, who also seconded that emotion by the National Security Advisor, that the United States is going to continue to provide resources. In fact, what we're now learning is that not only are they providing direct weapons to Ukraine, but yesterday we were told from the Pentagon that they are also now going through another process where they're actually working directly with military contractors to provide the weapons. So at one point it was the Pentagon that was providing weapons and military aid. Now they're operating through another source of providing this aid directly, which is going directly through contracting through military contractors such as Boeing, Caterpillar, and others. And so clearly what we're seeing now is the Pentagon and the United States has all of its operations at the ready to provide Ukraine with the weapons that they need to be able to combat Russia.
And in terms of holding people to account, which is pretty much what this UN Security Council meeting is about, does that seem likely? Because, of course, Russia is a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and if anything ever came to a vote, I mean, they'd be able to veto it, wouldn't they? Briefly.
You're absolutely right, Charles, and that's why what we're seeing in the UN, it certainly has an impact, but it's largely symbolic. What happens now in terms of what countries will actually do to be able to combat Russia's aggression is far more telling. And that's why we have heard from Secretary Blinken as well as the president that watch what Russia does and not what they say.
Eric, thanks very much indeed. Eric Ham, Arise US correspondent, talking to me there from Washington.